morning flooded. Parts of the Midwest received heavy rain, resulting in massive flooding. This morning, the flood warning issued for east central Indiana.
Dusty Australia. A violent dust storm strikes Australia. Coming up, the wind gusts that reached almost 60 miles per hour.
And sliding in, video shows an Oklahoma girl struggling to make it up her driveway in icy conditions. The footage in trending.
Get the coffee ready and open up those eyes. You're waking up with Cardinal weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal weather with Nathan, Tanner, Emerson, Katie, and Ballant live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Live at current radar. We'll get to Ballot in just a second. Meanwhile, back inside the Ball State Weather Center, I'm Tanner Holbrook.
I'm Emerson Lehman.
And I'm Katie Parker along with Ballant Salavari. Thanks for joining us.
And so, guys, we have a very good show today, but we do want to get right to Ballot because there is that potential for flooding here. As you know, the rain has been coming on or going on for the last several days.
Yeah, and that's really been the story of the week, to say the least. We've honestly seen rain every single day of the week so far. So let's go ahead and throw that radar back up there. We currently are looking at some isolated showers working their way through much of central Indiana right now. You can see here rain was in effect throughout the morning. However, it is starting to clear out, so we'll see a few hours free of rain here. Stronger showers down to the south. However, through the next several hours, we'll see those rain showers move on out as I just stated. However, we do have some flood watches in effect for southern portions within our viewing area, and also a flood warning in effect here along the Mississippi River here up until 7 p.m. tomorrow. Then current temperatures across the region: Indianapolis, the state capital, sitting at 51 degrees, Shelbyville at 54 degrees, Kokomo and Lafayette at 44. Now here in Muncie, we are seeing temperatures at 51 degrees, southerly winds at 9 miles per hour. Those southerly winds are what are driving those warmer temperatures moving back into the region. As the day continues, we'll see some showers stick around until about 9 a.m. this morning. However, we'll reach a high of 55 by 4 p.m. today. So let's go ahead and break that down on Precision Cast here. We'll pick this up again at 9 a.m. here. Here's some isolated showers working their way through much of Delaware County up towards Blackford, Henry. Those areas of darker greens indicating where those heavier pockets of showers are. However, as the day continues, by about lunchtime today, 1 p.m., you'll see just overcast skies for the greater portion of north central Indiana. That's going to be the story as the evening hours progress all the way up until 5 o'clock. So showers early, then it quickly clears on out. For tonight, we'll see temperatures drop down to 42 overnight with 90% chance for showers tomorrow. That's going to set us up for a marginal risk for severe weather along the I-70 and I-74 corridors for southern Indiana. Just a general thunderstorm threat for tomorrow for northern Indiana. And then here comes those showers all throughout the morning hours by 10 a.m. Heavier thunderstorms work their way on through before the majority of the showers work their way in late Saturday in the afternoon. Note those areas of dark reds and oranges indicating where those heavy pockets of showers are going to be. So expect a rumble of thunder or two tomorrow. Then for the 7-day forecast, temperatures continue to climb and we will break back into the 60s by next Tuesday. And thankfully, starting Sunday, we will see a few days without rain in the forecast.
Thank you, Ballant. And as the rain continues, so do the weather advisories given by the National Weather Service. Delaware County is one of those under a flood warning. If you take a look here, this is some of the video of the White River right here in Muncie. As you can see, it is higher than usual. Now, as the rain continues to fall this morning, that river will continue to rise. Your morning commute may be a little longer, but as the National Weather Service says, turn around, don't drown. If you come across a roadway that is flooded, don't try to drive through it and stay away from rivers until they are below flood levels.
Flooding is not only impacting us here in Indiana, the level of the flooded Illinois River is at over 22 feet and is expected to keep rising. The river was expected to crest Wednesday evening. Mandatory evacuations were placed for nearby areas. Officials in the city of Marseille set a 5 to 6 hour window for residents to safely leave the area.
A massive eruption in Indonesia's Mount Sinabung blew smoke and ash across 3 miles in Indonesia. The blast was one of the strongest blasts since the volcano became active in 2010. Indonesia's Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation says the peak of the volcano was, quote, completely annihilated. No injuries were reported, and the volcano is one of 120 active volcanoes in Indonesia. And coming up after the break, a real-life Mother Nature is forecasting weather in Wisconsin.
That's right, Tanner. Plus, we're going to have a look at one of our favorite segments. That's after your weather now.
Taking a live look in at Indiana Highway 3, 48 degrees outside. Meanwhile, back inside the Ball State Weather Center, we're taking a look at this. A violent dust storm blasted the Australian state of Queensland Tuesday. The storm vastly limited visibility and covered the town of Charleville in the southwestern part of the state in orange dust, and according to local media, wind gusts were recorded at 96 kilometers per hour, which is about 59 miles per hour. And weather forecasting has changed quite a bit over the past several decades, but at Wisconsin's Mount Mary University, there's a facet to the forecast that hasn't changed in 50 years, and her name is Sister Georgianne. Here's Amy DuPont with more.
She may not be as fast as she once was, but Sister Georgianne Krasinowski is as punctual today.
I come out about 7 o'clock in the morning to do this.
As the day she started. Just don't ask the school sister of Notre Dame exactly when that was.
That's a good number of years, but don't ask me how many because I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't.
Sister Georgianne is the Mount Mary University weather observer.
This is where the thermometers are.
The third sister to take over the duty since the university started collecting data for the National Weather Service in 1968.
Data collection is always an important part of science, and I do enjoy it myself. And Sister Georgianne is an important part of our contribution to understanding weather.
We're all the way up to 45.
The sister records the temperature and measures any rain or snowfall at the same time every day. Her weather work is meticulous.
A couple of times I've called in and they say, "Are you sure?" I says, "Yes, I'm sure."
Kind of ironic since numbers just aren't her thing.
I'm trying to remember how old I am. I'm in my 80s.
Sister Georgianne has long retired from the classroom, but she has no plans to leave campus. That's where she can always find the only numbers that matter to her.
A neat story there out of my home state of Wisconsin. Nice to see that. Time now for some weather history. On this day in 1977, a tornado touched down in Mason City, Iowa. The tornado inflicted F1 damage and injured only one person inside a home. It remains the only reported February tornado in Iowa history. And now taking things a little more international, black rain fell from the sky in eastern Turkey on this day in 1991. The rain was caused by soot from the Kuwait oil fields mixing with precipitation. And now, Ballant, we've had a lot of rain this week, but no black rain that I can report.
That's definitely for sure. No black rain in the forecast. We will still see some showers affecting us here within the next 24 to 48 hours. However, there are some clearing conditions in the forecast. So we will finally see some clearing conditions. However, right now, a live look at radar, we are tracking a few more showers working their way through east central Indiana. We'll see some clearing conditions set in for the afternoon hours. However, we are currently under a flood watch for southern portions, Henry and Randolph counties. Flood warnings in effect along the Mississinewa and White Rivers due to them reaching above their flood level. So areas around that, if you see any flooded roads, of course, turn around, don't drown. That's a saying we've been saying all morning. And just in general, if you see those flooded roads, make sure to turn around. 51 degrees here in Muncie with southerly winds at 9 miles per hour. A pretty gloomy day so far. However, temperatures are getting warmer, and within the past 24 hours, we're already 15 degrees warmer here in Muncie and 14 degrees warmer in Indianapolis than this time yesterday. So we're already above average. The average for this time of year is right around 40 degrees, so it's nice to see those warm temperatures. As the day progresses, we'll reach a high of 55 degrees. Winds sticking around west-southwest at about 10 miles per hour through the day. And then we'll see clearing conditions start to set in by 1 p.m. Just overcast skies for much of Indiana. That's going to continue to be the story all the way through early dinner time here by 5 p.m. And then for the overnight hours, temperatures will drop down to 42 degrees. However, rain returns, 90% chance for overnight showers. That'll stick around all the way through tomorrow here. And as you can see, by 10 a.m., the showers will work their way back in for a great portion of central Indiana. Stronger storms push their way back in later on into the evening hours all the way through 9:30 before we'll start to see clearing conditions start to set back in. And then we could expect right around 1.5 inches all the way through Saturday for the rain. So I know we're saying that, we're going to see clearing conditions here within the next several days. Those will start to work their way back in starting Sundays. And then by Tuesday, you guys, we'll be all the way back up to 60 degrees. So it's going to be nice to see some sunshine back into the forecast.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that sunshine because, rain's been taking a toll on us. All right, Ballant, thank you. Coming up, do we hear the Olympic fanfare? Because we've got a special guest telling us all about the Winter Olympics in South Korea.
Plus, all the trending and community news you need to know for the weekend. All that after your weather now.
weather.
8:12, you're looking live at the Scramble Light. 48 degrees outside, supposed to reach a high of 54 degrees. And back here inside the studio, we have got a very special guest with the Winter Olympics coming to a close this weekend. It's the end of a journey for the hundreds of Olympic athletes and fans alike.
That's right, Tanner. We're joined now in the studio by our very own Kara Biernat, who is able to experience the Olympic journey while reporting for BSU at the Games. Kara, good morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Feels good to be back.
So you had the opportunity of a lifetime. What was the takeaway from the experience?
You know what? It honestly was incredible. It was more than I ever even thought it would be. Being in that mix and just being able to do everything that we did was really unreal.
And Kara, you guys had the opportunity to cover a variety of different events. What would you say was your favorite event to cover?
Yeah, you know, I am a big snowboarding fan. I'm on the Shaun White train, so I got to cover him in qualifying rounds, and I was there to witness his gold medal, so that was definitely the highlight of my trip, and I did get to interview him and do a story on the half pipe. So.
You know, we did see you live there in South Korea. I think the first day you guys were there. You know, how has that time change been for you? I know, like, you tweeted out last night that it's kind of messing with you.
Yeah, you know, it was cool to do, you know, live shots there for you guys because it was nighttime where we were and morning where you guys were 14 hours off. However, I've been up since 3 a.m.
Yeah.
It's 4 days, and I don't know if it's the jet lag still, but I cannot sleep.
And you crossed paths with some famous journalists in our field. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think that was my favorite part of the entire trip was that I was bumping shoulders with professional journalists from the New York Times, you know, Washington Post, NBC Sports, yes, Hoda from the Today Show, and you know, just to see how they actually work and be right in the mix with them and being treated as a professional journalist, like it was really cool.
Well, Kara, great to have you back. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And now you'll get to join us for everyone's favorite, the trending segment. So let's get the trending segment rolling, Katie.
Yeah, so first up, music artist Fergie sang the national anthem at the NBA All-Star Game Sunday night, which was more memorable than the game, to say the least. She slowed down the song a little bit, added a jazzy feel, and even added some off-key notes.
That's not
that's not Fergie, but you know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened with that, but spectators couldn't hold their laughter and smiles during the song. After the performance, Fergie told TMZ that even though she is a risk taker, her version did not hit the mark. She also said that she tried her best.
I'm sure she did try her best, but I don't know. I didn't really like her rendition.
She's still Fergalicious.
Yeah, she's still.
That was horrible.
She's a fan.
I've never seen her live in concert, but when she also performed at the Super Bowl a couple years ago with the Black Eyed Peas, that was horrible as well. So
Tough critics here on Cardinal WX.
I'm a big music fan, so.
All right, well, an Oklahoma girl is learning the struggles of winter the hard way, literally. 11-year-old Alexis Johnson just can't seem to make it up her icy driveway with the, that is a typo in the script there. Sorry about that. If we could take a look at these efforts, look at her struggling on this icy driveway. We've all been here before, guys. I know when it was icing over with all the rain here in Muncie, I was walking to class, we'd be slipping all over the place.
Oh yeah, you know, sometimes those sidewalks get a little slippery and they don't like to salt the sidewalks.
Little jab. Just
calling you out, Ball State. No, I'm just kidding. All right, well, Nathan's over there in the studio getting ready for some cooking. Nathan.
What was that? We don't go.
We don't?
Does it? Oh. Did you see what was in the script?
Ahead in advance. I know this is a very popular trend, and I personally do partake in this, and being able to plan out your meals for the week also helps your budget. And so this morning's meal is focusing on breakfast, but on a budget. So this morning we made muffins in a tin, which allows you the ability to prepare them ahead of time, but also then be able to take it when you are in a time crunch in the morning, when you're trying to get out to class or even to work. So this morning all we did was we took basically eggs, simple ingredients like ham, cheese, and bacon, and put them together to make these muffins in a tin. It's really easy to put together and make. You first start out with just some eggs. In this case, for the muffins that I made, it was only 4 eggs, so we're only using less than a half a dozen, so really budget conscious and budget friendly for you. So you're going to first start out with your eggs. You're going to want to get your oven preheated to 350 degrees, and then you're going to want to go for 15 minutes. And it's only going to take 15 minutes. This is not a very time-consuming process to make these ingredients and really get a great healthy breakfast on the go. So then you'll mix up your eggs and you'll end up pouring them into the muffin tins. In this case, I use smaller muffin tins so they're a little bit easier and they fit in a Ziploc baggie that I can put in my backpack while I'm leaving in the morning. But you could simply use a much larger muffin tin if you wanted. This allows you the ability to potentially use it as a meal replacement. Now you can always spice it up by adding different spices and ingredients. In my case, I love onions. So adding minced onions is really nice to be able to add into that. Now you may be curious, what makes an egg solidify? And so I asked Andrew and Sarah to come over here because we got a little bit of a science experiment going on this morning, guys.
Science.
Yeah. So I went ahead and beat up these eggs. I was going to use them for the recipe that we were going to use to make the muffins in a tin. But the real question revolves around, like, how do the eggs solidify? What is that process? There is a chemical process that it actually occurs when you're cooking with food that makes it solidify. And so because eggs are primary proteins, they have amino acids in them, and so they're placid. Basically, they're floating around. These chains of amino acids are floating around, and when heat is applied to the eggs, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and put them in there. When you put eggs in there, you notice that they begin to turn a little bit white, and that's those amino acids beginning to break and become placid, which is really cool, and it's really interesting to think that something that is a liquid can easily turn into a solid. So this is this week's basically cooking in a summary for breakfast on the go.
Yeah, so next time I make my scrambled eggs, I'm going to be like, the amino acids are...
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, and who knew eggs had so much science behind it?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
All right,
Love it.
guys. All right, so coming up, we've got a lot that's happening this weekend. Sarah, what do you have going on this weekend?
Yeah, well, Ballant told us earlier that it was going to be rainy all weekend, so it might be the perfect time to stay inside and cook and do your science experiment with your eggs, or you can check out some things around Muncie and around campus that you can also do this weekend.
Yeah, so tomorrow's the 27th annual Model Train Show at the Delaware County Fairgrounds. It's Indiana's longest running single-day train show. There'll be operating layouts, circus memorabilia, food on site, and there'll be over 200 vendor tables. Now, admission is $5, but if you're under 12, which I don't think we could pass for, it is free. Maybe. I don't know. Just depends on the day.
And also, the Muncie Civic Theater is performing a classic this weekend, one of my favorites, Charlotte's Web. It will be at the Studio Theater tonight and tomorrow night at 7 and Sunday afternoon at 2. Tickets are $13 for adults and $10 for students, which we can pass for because we are students.
Yeah.
For more information on that, you can head to munciecivic.org.
Yeah, and if you're looking to stay a little bit closer to campus weekend, the planetarium will be having the Back to the Moon for Good show. And it features teams around the world. They're all racing to get a robotic spacecraft back on the moon.
And there's something coming up with that a little bit with NASA next week.
Exactly. I actually just found out yesterday that I'm going to have the opportunity to go to the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, where we're going to be bringing coverage from the GOES-S launch, which is the next generation weather satellite to go up into space.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Also, if you're just looking for something else, there's a lot of movies going on.
Black Panther's a big one out right now. Everybody's talking about it. You can go to the Rock Wall at the Rec Center or the dinosaur exhibit at Minnetrista, which we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on this weekend.
Yeah. Nathan, I bet that you're going to be getting ready for Florida.
Yeah, there is a lot going on, and I know a lot of students are beginning to make those preparations ahead of spring break, but we have a lot more coming up here on Cardinal Weather.
Welcome back. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather. Live look at McKinley Avenue there on the campus of Ball State. 51 degrees. The current temperature's outside. A little damp this morning. Meanwhile, back inside the Ball State Weather Center, good news for you alcohol consumers. The bill that would allow Sunday alcohol sales in Indiana is on its way to Governor Eric Holcomb's desk. The Indiana Senate voted 38-10 to give final approval to the bill yesterday. Holcomb says he plans to sign the bill soon, and the House changed the bill last week to make Sunday sales from noon to 8 p.m. effective immediately as soon as the governor signs it into law. Indiana's ban on Sunday alcohol sales has been in place since the prohibition nearly a century ago, guys. Pretty amazing that it's finally changing.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And you know, once this passes, people won't have to go to Ohio or Michigan or Illinois to buy alcohol on Sundays.
Have you done that before?
No, because I'm from Michigan. So.
All right, you haven't had to deal with it then.
Well, there we go. Well, moving on, still sticking with the theme, one researcher says that drinking some alcohols may help you live until you're 90. And in a study of 1,700 people who lived until 90, Dr. Claudia Kwas found that people who were drinking 2 glasses of wine or beer reduces their chance of dying prematurely by 18%. Kwas also says that people who were slightly overweight but not obese were 3% less likely to die young. She says she doesn't know why modest drinking and putting on a few pounds helps people live longer, but she says that she firmly believes it improves longevity.
You buying into the hype?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Katie, you think so?
I agree. I have read I've done some research on this and found that not only red wine but also dark chocolate.
I've also heard white wine before bed is actually pretty good for the metabolism too.
Really?
Yeah, but you can't quote me on that.
Just giving people a reason to cheat on those diets.
Yeah, don't they also say that, you know, like a glass of red wine before bed every night, it's actually better for your heart health or something like that too?
Yeah, so red wine, yeah.
All right, well, moving on. A village hotspot is expanding beyond Muncie.
That's right, it is.
Scotty's Brewhouse announced that it's opening a minimum of 10 new restaurants in the Midwest. Wow. Former owner and founder Scott Wise is returning to help with the expansion after selling the company in late 2016. With Wise's return, the company is focusing its attention on expanding to other college towns. 2 of the potential sites are Ann Arbor, Michigan and Lexington, Kentucky, and there are currently 16 Scotty's locations in the United States. The first opened here in Muncie in 1996. That's the year most of us were born. The company is hoping to expand the brand to 100 locations within the next 5 years.
Yeah, Scotty's is one of my favorite restaurants, at least in the village.
So the Muncie Scotty's was the first Scotty's ever?
Yeah. Did you know that he went to Ball State?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he went to Ball State. He's a Ball State grad.
Chirp, chirp.
Yeah, now they're going to have one at UK, University of Kentucky in Lexington. So
yeah, there you go. Exciting. And University of Michigan. Well, a little closer to home, if you live in certain areas of Muncie, you may live in a food desert. And if you don't have transportation, getting groceries for you and your family can be a task that most take for granted. But there could be a way to make grocery shopping a lot easier for those. Our own Sarah Lehman has the story.
The Muncie, Indiana transit system has routes all across Muncie, taking residents to places like the mall, campus, and Walmart.
We talked to the MITS bus people, and they were very happy to have carts be on the bus.
These carts are to help riders with grocery shopping.
Having a cart which has wheels, which carries more food, is a much better idea to get groceries home to your family.
Even when they do go to the grocery store, stay on the bus, they are limited in what they can get from the grocery store because of trying to get all that back onto a bus and trying to get back to their location here.
After all the Marsh locations in Muncie closed, over half of all households were left at least a mile away from any grocery stores and with no way to get there.
We know that people struggle with getting food home in large enough quantities for their families.
I think they're going to be great because we go to the store and we have all these bags. And we can just put them in the cart and bring them home.
But putting this plan into action wasn't all that easy.
We actually introduced one cart at the local food summit, which was held the end of October. And we are now just getting the carts around to the places where they need to go.
Carts can be picked up at 4 different locations: the YWCA, Earthstone Terrace, Southern Pines, and Gillespie Towers. In Muncie, Sarah Lehman, NewsLink, Indiana.
Each of the 4 locations have 4 carts available to MITS riders. Carts can be returned to that same location.
That's right, Tanner. Super cool story there. And now Cardinal WX's Liz Sefcik is at the whiteboard this morning breaking down the science behind volcanoes. Liz, good morning.
Thanks, guys. Following the volcanic eruption of Mount Cederberg. Right now we're breaking down the science of volcanic eruptions. Two of the biggest scientific terms to know for that are density and pressure. Now density is going to be the amount of composition that we're going to have in a substance, and pressure is going to end up being our force applied over an area. Now before we even look at the eruption itself, let's take a look at some of this lava and how it forms. When we look at the Earth as a whole, as we start to get more into the core itself, temperatures are going to get pretty hot, and some rock is going to end up liquefying, turning into a thick substance called magma. And that's going to have a lower density than some of those solid rocks. As that density starts to lessen, it's going to start to rise, coming into this magma chamber that we see here. As plate tectonics start to shift and pressure starts to really start to develop, we're going to have it start to come up into what we call the pipe, which is going to also start to branch off into our sill and our branch pipe. But overall, what we're going to end up seeing for that big explosion is it coming up into our vent. As this magma starts to come out, we're going to refer to it as lava, and as that lava cools down, it's going to end up turning back into rock, and through geologic processes, it's going to start to dig deeper into the earth, allowing for that cycle to start all over again. That was the breakdown of volcanic eruptions. Back to you guys.
Welcome back. So, believe it or not, we are seeing temperatures here in Muncie warmer than Dallas, Fort Worth, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles. It's not oftentimes that you actually see temperatures that warm here. So 51 degrees here in Muncie, 32 degrees in Kansas City, and -1 degrees in Billings, Montana. That area of green here indicating some ridging that's driving in warmer air from the south, hence why we're seeing those warmer temperatures. Across the U.S. we'll reach 58 in Cincinnati, 77 in Atlanta, and 50 degrees in Dallas, Fort Worth. Now for tomorrow, we're under a marginal risk for severe weather for portions of far western Tennessee down towards Alabama, Louisiana, and Arkansas. So we could see some tornadic activity occurring there. We'll have to keep up to date with how that breaks down. And really the main story here is we're going to see two converging systems. This is the one that's going to be really driving that severe weather. Then we'll see a secondary system where there's snow occurring throughout the next 24 hours. Those are going to merge, and really we could see that heavy precipitation start to drive along this cold front that's going to work its way through a great portion of the southeastern United States. So really, within the next 24 hours, it's going to be interesting to see how that weather pans out down south.
All right, Balin, thank you very much. Hopefully, the severe weather stays to a minimum. We can hopefully, we're going to enjoy some warmer temperatures here in Muncie in the next few days. So that is exciting.
Very much so.
All right, Balin, thank you very much. Well, that is all for us this morning on Waking Up with Cardinal Weather. Thanks for joining us this morning.
And make sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and have a great weekend.